Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Daily Blend. I'm your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Brendon Steenbergen. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Okay, I got it right. Who is the executive director of the Missouri Coalition of Recovery Support Providers. How are you, Brendon?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and welcome back.
Yeah, that's right.
We did figure out, I was like, your face is awful familiar, but you were here before.
That's right.
As an author.
That's right. I tried to throw you off by
You
coming
did.
with a different purpose.
A different purpose and a beard.
Yeah, and a beard.
Yeah, so you did. You fooled me a little, but not quite. Not quite. I always remember faces.
That's right, you did.
Faces. So tell us, for those of us who are not familiar, about this Missouri Coalition of Recovery Support Providers.
Yeah, and I imagine there's a lot of people who are not familiar
Yeah.
with what we are, but we are a statewide nonprofit organization, and we're made up of about 60 different substance use disorder recovery providers
Okay.
around Missouri who do a lot of different things for folks who are dealing with addiction and are trying to battle that and regain control of their life. And so these recovery support providers do a lot of things. They provide recovery residences so people have a place to stay. They provide a lot of educational services for folks who are trying to get out in the job force or maybe coming out of prison for the first time and, just need some basic life skills to get back on their feet. And they provide like GED training so you can get an education, offer access to AA services, NA services, all kinds of things, embodies what recovery is. And a lot of people are familiar maybe with addiction and substance use disorders, but there's really two ways that people go about confronting it. And one is treatment. That's, what people may be familiar with, 30, 60, 90-day treatment
Yes.
facilities where it's clinical. There's medications a lot of times provided to help people battle acute addiction. And then what happens is they get done with this 30, 60, 90-day treatment, and then they go right back out on the streets to this environment that led to them falling victim to their addiction. So that's where recovery comes in. And we help people on their lifetime journey to be victorious over these addictions. And so our organization, MOCRISP is what we call it, Missouri Coalition Recovery Support Providers. MOCRISP is a coalition of all these providers who band together and make decisions for how we're going to, what are the latest trends, what's working, what's not working. We advocate at the state legislature in Jefferson City for the work that we do, and so that we can get support broadly statewide. We partner with some of the government agencies like the Missouri Department of Mental Health, and we also are a accrediting body for these recovery residences around the state. We are a member affiliate of the National Alliance of Recovery Residencies, and we are Missouri's accrediting body. So we go in, do inspections, and ensure that when folks go to these homes that they're safe and they meet basic standards. And so that's kind of what we are as an organization. Long answer, but it's a lot to it.
But it is a lot to it. It feels like a lot of kind of different pieces, but you guys all come together to kind of help make some of these overall decisions and set some standards, I would imagine.
Yep, and we follow the national standards, the National Alliance's standards, but we make sure that our state is in compliance with them, and we basically are a support for all these different recovery residencies, as well as just recovery support service providers. There's different types. There's recovery community centers where people can come in, get out of the cold and get something, get an education, get all these different things. But we are, basically support all these recovery services in the state of Missouri in all these different various ways.
Okay, that makes sense. And do you have a home location, or you just okay?
Yeah, so we have an office in Jefferson City, and that's sort of the main base of operations, but we have a very active board of directors, and they're made up of recovery support providers themselves, and they're all over the state. The Department of Mental Health has divided Missouri up into 5 different regions, and we have regional coalitions in each of those 5 regions. And so all of our board members make up providers from those various regions: Kansas City, St. Louis, Southwest Missouri, Southeast Missouri, and then, of course, in Central Missouri, where we have a number of providers even here in Columbia.
Yeah, definitely so. So it's interesting because you do hear about the standalone, recovery operations. I know we have quite a few here, but I guess I've never thought about the overarching, like what's the governing body for that, right?
Yeah, and it's sort of a governing body, sort of just a support network, because all of those, for instance, Powerhouse Ministries and
Yes.
Charles Stevenson, James Bayless with Fresh Start here in Columbia. They're on our board of directors.
Okay.
And Into Action, they're a member of our, they're a provider within our coalition as well. So you probably had these folks on the show, and they're all very engaged in what MoCRISP does, and they're decision makers in how we move forward.
Okay, that's very good. Interesting to know. Very good to know. Some names I'm definitely familiar with. Some people I know. To know that there is this kind of larger body, and that's kind of where some of the guidelines, or here's what we think statewide should be kind of happening across the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and
right.
so, and you said you guys take your cues from what's happening nationally.
That's right. Particularly with accrediting the residencies. The National Alliance of Recovery Residencies is the national accrediting body. We've been an affiliate for a long time with them. They really set the standards and are sort of the cutting edge as far as like what kind of things are working, what's not working. One of those things, for example, is something called respite housing, which is a short-term type of housing. And this is for folks who maybe are on their recovery journey. They're doing well. They're in a home. A lot of these homes are completely abstinence-based. If you test positive for any sort of substance, then you won't be able to stay there. Well, that set a lot of people back, because then they go back right to the streets, and then they fall down, and we're starting from ground zero. Well, with these respite homes, it gives them an opportunity to reset and get sober. A lot of times the average stay is only 14 days, 2 weeks, no more than 30 days. And then once they get out of respite, they can go right back to where they were, clean and sober, and they're not starting from the ground up. And that has proven, we've only been doing it for about a year, and it's a newer thing, but it's shown tremendous success. And so that's something that I was at the national conference in Richmond, Virginia. That was a big topic down there because those things were working. And so we want to stay on top of what's working.
I like that. And that's good to be able to go to these national conferences and say, hey, what's working, and bring that back to your own states and your own communities. Well, Brendon, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Very interesting topic. I have learned all kinds of things I didn't know, which is the point of you being here. So thank you for being here to talk to us about, what do you call it again? MoCRISP.
MoCRISP.
MoCRISP. Thank you, Brendon.